From County College of Morris, this is CCM All Access.
Hello, and welcome to CCM All Access, the show that brings you news and information from the County College of Morris. I'm Daniil Barkov, and today we will be speaking with Professor Todd Doney, who teaches in the Art and Design Department here at CCM. Welcome, thank you so much for coming on.
Nice to be here.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the Art Department here at CCM?
Well, we're a two-year school, so it's beginning foundations of art. So we have like drawing 1, drawing 2, some painting 1, painting 2, color theory, 2D design, and we even have a little, I'm talking about my department, an introduction to Photoshop class for artists, for fine artists. So basically your beginning courses for a fine art degree.
So, if students decide to take some of these classes, do they automatically start at the lowest one, or if they have
Yep.
some skills? Okay, so even if they're proficient in something, they still have to go to the beginning?
We do have a procedure that students can do to try and maybe advance out of a class, but I always like to say let's keep them in there and let them review a little bit of some of their old skills and get better. They can get out if they really are talented, but again, I encourage them to stay in there and just review all your skills and get a little better.
Now, the Photoshop classes, I'm assuming there's definitely a lot of correlation between, the students who are in the regular drawing and painting courses compared to the Photoshop one.
Well, yeah, the Photoshop class is actually just a beginner Photoshop class that we want the students to be able to shoot their artwork and get it ready for maybe websites, maybe PowerPoints, business cards, whatever. So that it's really not necessarily going in there and drawing. Now we do have an animation program which does that. That's sort of a cross between us and the IT department. We have a little mutual program with that animation.
So can you maybe walk us through how an art class normally would go? Because I'm sure it's not just, drawing and doing art every single day. You have to learn techniques and stuff like that.
It kind of is though, drawing every day.
Yeah.
that's what we really. I mean, to get better at drawing is to draw. You know, so I feel that if you draw every day, you'll get better. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't draw. How do you get better?" Well, draw every day. You will get better. But we do have we try to show them techniques and demonstrations with different materials, especially drawing 2. We get into pastels and color pencils and mixed media. So we're doing a lot of fun things in that class. But drawing 1 is charcoal and pencils, and the painting classes are paint, of course, and color theory and 2D design are our foundation design courses, which are very important.
How have you and your department, I guess, altered the courses due to doing a virtual learning now?
Yeah, that was fun. Basically, we're at home, and I have to tape my demos now and put them online so the students can see them, and all the other instructors are doing the same thing. So it actually became a little bit harder to do this. I enjoyed being in class, and then doing a demo was like, wow, I get to sit there and draw and paint in my class, and it was really a lot of fun. The kids could see firsthand what it's like. Now, I think the digital stuff is working fine. We're able to do it, but it's just a little different. It's just not the same, and who would expect it to be?
Yeah.
One of the things I really miss is going around and helping the kids. Now we have to look at their posts, and I say, okay, that needs to be here and here, and that needs to be there and there. It's not the same. We do get it across, we get our message across, but it's just a little different.
I am a little curious about how does, I guess, I don't want to say the grading process, but just, I guess, the evaluations in the classes work.
Well, that doesn't change from digital to traditional. We look at effort. Someone could come in and not be as talented as another person and still get an A in that class because they try hard, and we see improvement. That's the key. Improvement, trying your best, understanding the parameters of the job. Each class is a little different. Someone might do a great drawing, and I said, well, that's not what I wanted, though. I wanted you to do something, with a sketchier kind of a technique or something. So it just depends on how well they fulfill the assignment. And cleanliness is always good, too. I don't like sloppy stuff. So it's tough, but we grade the same, whether it's digital or traditional.
What do you find is the most popular course, or a specific, art style that students have?
Well, that's two different things. The most popular course, I kind of think would be the painting courses tend to be a little bit more fun because kids get in there and have a little fun with the paint. But the style, a lot of kids coming up from high schools to college are really into anime or comic books or just maybe some sort of style that they found on the internet and some art, like DeviantArt is a website where a lot of kids go. And so sometimes they come in and they're all gung-ho on doing maybe a certain style, and we want them to be, more traditional and really hone in some of our skills that way. So it gets to be a little bit of a challenge.
So I actually know that there's been a huge, bump in a lot of like animation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you found that that's affected a lot of students and what they want to pursue?
Of course, yeah. And we have an animation department now, or animation program, I should say. I started that because my son is an animator.
Oh, wow.
So he actually, when he was in school, he wanted to do something with art. He's talented. And like many kids, students today, he decided animation was where he wanted to go. And I said, hey, why don't we have an animation program here? So I based it on my son's schooling. He went to a few colleges, and I based our first 2 years here on the first 2 years of a 4-year or even a master's program in animation. So we tried to get as best we could, and I think we did a pretty good job. We have our animation program is really gung-ho now. It's going great.
So what made you want to, pursue art when you first started?
I didn't like working.
Yeah.
I always drew. I always did stuff when I was a kid. I just did more. I was like one of those kids that I would just always be drawing, and I loved art. And I found out if I can make a living at something I love, it's like, what did they say? You never work a day in your life if you do what you love. So I said, I got to find a way to make a living with my artwork, and I have. I've been lucky. I taught art. I was an illustrator. I'm a gallery artist. So I've done many different things with art, and I can actually say that I made all of my money that I've made, all my career has been art, and I love that.
So I've seen before the show, I looked at some of your paintings and specifically the landscape ones. I was a big fan of that. And can you tell us more about how you yourself participate and create your work, I guess?
When I was in graduate school, there was a challenge for us graduate students to come up with a series of work that you would show for your master thesis program. And people had to come up with something that was important to them. One of my friends was from Cuba, so he did this whole thing about coming from another country to America, and his artwork reflected that. Another student I knew had breast cancer, so her art reflected that challenge. And I said, what am I going to paint? And I said, well, I've always heard that saying, you should paint what you know. And I live right next to the Great Swamp Wildlife Refuge here in New Jersey. So I started painting that, and that became my subject matter for quite some time now. I guess it was supposed to be an airport at some point, and an organization got together and stopped that. So in a way, my artwork reflects that attitude as well, that we better be careful about our nature, or we could lose it.
So can you tell us what are some values of taking up art as, either a hobby or a career?
Yeah, I guess, like myself, I love art. I want to make art my career. And then there's other ways to do it besides just teaching and gallery work. You can work at a museum. You can work at a gallery that sells paintings. You can work at a graphic design, animation. There's tons of ways you can make a living as an artist. And I think if you feel the need to create, that's what you want to do. You want to make a living at it.
So I know some students, when I was younger, the stick figures was about as far as I got with drawing, but what's some advice you can give to, students or people who are just starting to get into art and how they can pursue it?
Enroll at CCM.
Yeah.
Just take classes and do it.
Okay, well, thank you. Now we are going to take a break. When we return, Professor Doney will be walking us through a charcoal drawing process. Stay tuned.
I'm Andrea Lucia, a graduate of County College of Morris. At CCM, I gained a high-quality education, was involved with clubs on campus, and performed university research in tissue engineering. My CCM education prepared me for ongoing success. Today, I am at Cornell University, studying engineering and performing research in cardiac tissue engineering. The professors and staff at CCM helped me to start right and finish strong.
Welcome back to CCM All Access. I'm Daniil Barkov, and we are here with Professor Todd Doney, who is going to demonstrate a charcoal drawing for us. Professor, take it away.
Okay, this is the way we start a simple charcoal drawing of a portrait. And I'm going to draw this person here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see him.
Okay, so the way I start is with a light charcoal that erases easily, because we all make mistakes. So I start out with a circle that represents the top of the head, the cranium. Then I try to find the center line, which is between your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. In this case, the center line seems to be right about like this. Then I'm going to extend down a jawline. And everybody's a little different. We start out generic, but at the same time, I'm trying to pick out little things that make the portrait unique to that individual. So I got basically, looks like a crash test dummy, I guess. Okay, I'm just drawing in a little bit of the neck. All right, so now there's some rules. One of the rules is that the eyes tend to be in the middle of the head from the top to the chin. So I'm going to just put a little line right there for the eye line. Mm-hmm. The bottom of the nose tends to be in between the eyes and the chin. So I'm going to put a little line that represents the bottom of the nose. And the bottom of the mouth is in between the bottom of the nose and the chin. So these are just generic marks, and sometimes they change, but it's a blueprint to get you going. So then I'm going to drop my eyes in roughly where I think they're going to end up. And when I drop in the ears, they usually line up between the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose. So there might be an ear here, might be an ear over this way. Usually you can fit an eyeball in between the eyes, and you can even fit an eyeball between the ear and the eye, if you just to measure things out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that's my beginning. Now I'm going to switch to a little bit harder charcoal that's more permanent, and I'm going to start to draw a little bit. So I start, you could start anywhere. I usually just start towards the left because I'm right-handed and I don't want to smear as much stuff. So I'll start over this way, maybe drop in a little bit of that ear. And I don't recommend drawing very fast and in front of people like this. It's a little difficult. I like to be right on top of my drawing. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to kind of doing it this way so you could see a little bit.
We have a great view, so this is perfect.
So I'm just sketching in some eyes here. And it's hard for me to really talk while I'm drawing. Sometimes I don't have anything to say. I just draw.
No, of course, take your time. It's interesting watching this come alive, from one portion all the way over.
And this is going to be very fast and loose, so that's fine. It's not going to be hanging in the Met anytime soon. I'm already adjusting. I'm bringing up the mouth a little bit.
I don't mean to distract you, but what do you find is the most difficult feature, at least for you?
They're actually all the same. I don't, a lot of people have problems with noses. Mm.
I hear that hands are very challenging for a lot of people.
Well, typical for students, it's hands, feet, faces, all the things you have to draw.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to throw some tone on the paper. One thing I can tell you is that when I draw, I see my mistakes.
I mean, I can't even see. This is amazing right now.
Well, like I said, if I was taking my time and trying to do things, I would go a lot slower and be a little more precise with my my marks.
And you're using different, I guess, different types of charcoal for different shading and,
Yeah,
outlines.
using different tools, and yeah, there's a few different things. Blending tools, hard charcoal, soft charcoal. Erasers are good too. They help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see little mistakes that I made just by the width of the face and things like that. But that's all part of drawing. That's what makes it fun. You have electric erasers. Those are nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my brother was an architect, and he had this, and I stole it when I was a kid at school. It's a nice tool.
This is amazing seeing how far it goes just from a simple circle.
What you got to do is, I'm going to go home and do a real good one and swap it out. So
Oh, yeah.
I go, wow, you did that?
So even when you're painting, you still have to do basically all of the charcoal underneath everything. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, if I'm going to do a portrait, I would have to do a nice drawing first, make sure that, and then you spray it so it stays down there with fixative.
Okay.
But you gotta without a good foundation, your painting's won't look, won't be good. So I definitely see problems. I gotta move this eye up. I'm getting rid of that one.
But the process usually, it's a back and forth type of deal. Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah. One of the things that I like about drawing is actually spending the time. Like I might spend 3-4 hours on this normally, and even more. For this, I'm not going to spend that, so I'm going a lot faster. But it's almost like meditation when you really get into a drawing and just keep spending that time.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is very therapeutic to just, watching it for me even.
That's why people watch Bob Ross.
Yeah. Now, when you do landscapes, do you also have to do this process?
I mean, do a drawing underneath it.
Yes.
Not as much, because a landscape can be pretty, well, it's very organic. And you can just kind of let things go, and nobody's going to really say, well, that tree doesn't look exactly like that tree. So you get away with a little bit more of not having to prepare. But I do prepare sometimes by doing sketches, preliminary sketches, or now I do them on the computer. Do a lot of sketches on the computer.
Wow.
So what I'm doing now would be just, this is something that you would say, this is how I would do a portrait, except you want to take your time.
Mm-hmm.
All the elements were here that I needed to do. I just needed to spend a little more time to be accurate with my marks.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm going fast, I'm kind of not. I lost some of that accuracy.
Well, yeah, we're putting you on a little bit of a time constriction here, so it's understandable. But it still looks amazing.
Some of the things that I talk about in class is that you can spend 20 minutes or an hour just on the nose. So you can see or kind of figure out how much time it would take to do a real good portrait. You really want to spend the time, and that's where you really separate students from maybe getting an A or a B or a C, is how much time they're willing to put into a project. I almost equate time with quality. The more time you spend, the better your artwork will be. In fact, if I had all day to sit here, this would be a lot better.
I'd say it's pretty impressive for about 10 minutes.
So I think you get the idea.
Yeah. No, this is amazing. We did about 15 minutes, and that's great.
So it may not be Dr. Iacona, but it may be his cousin.
That looks great. We're going to put both the pictures up next to each other so people can see the comparison.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's going to want to buy it right now. But you get the idea. That's how I would start a portrait. And again,
Yeah.
Starting out with the basics and then building up and building up. And you can get...
No, this is amazing. I want to thank you again for coming on and to walking us through all of this.
All right.
This has been another edition of CCM All Access. From all of us on the crew, we wish you good health and thank you for watching.